Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 7 of our All of Fabric modded Minecraft series. Today we're going to be working with Sandwichables and our other food mods to finish out the agricultural quest lines. But before we get into that, I wanted to show you something that I had been working on. I was not quite happy with how much light I had inside of our main storeroom, so I added in some skylights and some windows now that I have easy access to sand. Now I can watch all the pillagers that are trying to come and murder my face. But it's much brighter in here, and I'm sure on YouTube it's very helpful too, because it was much darker than even it was for me, so it's looking a lot nicer. The Sandwichables mod doesn't have a quest line because it's something that I added to the pack, so I went through and looked to see what things we want to start with making. Some of them we've already made, some of them we need to make today, but I'm going to go through them briefly just to show you what the plan is for today. We need to have a sandwich table, which is what we use to actually do the work with Sandwichables. We need to set up a redstone toaster to make toast. The andesite basin is used in the making of cheese and other items for the mod. Cutting board is how we cut different items from the mod, like the wheels of cheese into slices and the meats into different cuts. The bottle crates are an interesting item that makes it so that when we make cheese cultures, we can store them back in there and they will slowly increase the amount of cheese culture inside them. So basically, once we make the cheese cultures to make different cheeses, we can just store them in here and keep getting more cheese from it, which is neat. The redstone desalinator is a device that's used to get salt for us, so we'll get that set up. And then we have a whole set of different knives similar to the Farmer's Delight mod that are used with this mod, so we'll probably just end up going straight to making the diamond kitchen knife, and then eventually we'll turn that into a netherite one. Then we have a bunch of different seeds that we need to go and collect for the different items. That's lettuce, tomato, cucumbers, and onions. Cucumbers are used in the process of making pickles for our sandwiches. And then a few other minor things we need to get to get everything set up. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to collect all the items that we need for these different things, and then we can start assembling our kitchen together. We're going to just put it in this section of the barn in the corner here to have everything from this Sandwichables mod together. So I'll get everything we need and then we can do that together. Started collecting all the items I needed and realized that we need to find some stuff out in the world. So what we're looking for are these shrubs. And when you break those shrubs, you can get seeds from the Sandwichables mod. So I figured while I'm out here exploring for them, I would come out with my Farmer's Delight knife as well, so that when I'm breaking the different crops, I can also break grass and collect more of the straw that we need for that mod. So killing two birds with one stone. So I'm gonna explore around and collect all the seeds we need, get a whole bunch of straw and other things like that, and then we'll get started. I got the things I needed, but I've angered some orcs, and they killed me. I'm gonna try to get my stuff back and take them down. But I figured I'd probably die, and that would be entertaining. So here we are. Let me get past these guys. I don't really have any weapons on me either. I guess they're not so bad. They just snuck up on me and they hit hard. As long as I can keep them at bay, it should be okay. Adventures is the mod that adds these. So, okay, not as entertaining as I thought it would be, but I did get all the seeds we need, and I'm gonna set them up over here in our kitchen. And we got a bunch of seeds. There's Croptopia adds a lot of seeds as well. So let's get all of these put in here for now. I just put them in my saplings bag here. So we did get the lettuce, onion, cucumbers, and tomatoes we need. We also got a bunch more straw and some more seeds that we can compost. So the first order of business is to get a field set up growing just the Sandwichables seeds. So I'm going to just make a field that matches this one over here and put it on this side, and that's going to be our Sandwichables field. So we'll get that set up, and then we can get started on actually growing the crops and making some sandwiches. One of the items that we need for Sandwichables is salt. To get salt, you have two options. You can either find the salty sand and break it, and you get these salt rocks, which can be turned into salt. Or you can use the redstone desalinator. Kind of a noisy block, but it basically, the way it works is if you put it in salt water, you add redstone, it will generate salt for you slowly over time. The problem is this is where we are building. This is all river. There's no ocean nearby except for all the way up here. And there is these salt biomes, or the little salt pools form. So I marked this when I came over here, but this one's pretty far away from our area. I'm gonna grab this, and I don't want to have to run all the way over here to get salt every time I need it. I think that this area is closer, so we'll probably set it up here. But what we're gonna have to do is set up a little area to make salt, and then go get salt periodically when we need it. I don't yet know how much salt we actually need, but wish that we had salt closer to us, but we don't. So I'm gonna head back to take the truck all the way back to our area, and then we will finish putting together this Sandwichables section in our barn. Gotten a few things set up with the Sandwichable mod. First things to show you is the crop field over here. I have done them a little differently than I'm doing all the other fields, and I sectioned it off into 4 smaller sections because there's just 4 different types of crops from Sandwichables. So there's the onions, and then there is lettuce, there is cucumbers, and then there is tomatoes. And so I have a different section for each one, and I'm slowly expanding them as I get more seeds. And then this will be all the items we need from Sandwichable, and we'll be able to come over and just vein mine the entire field and grab an entire stack of the different crops that we need. Over here, I've started setting up a little bit of a kitchen using the different items from Sandwichable. I found these little kitchen counters from Adorn that go really well, I think, with the sandwich table and with some of the other items. So I use them to go around the room. I may change them out. That you can make these in any different wood style that you like. So there's other items that go with them. We can make cupboards and things like that, and sinks. So we'll probably make some more of those once we get everything laid out and we decide what more we want to put into our kitchen. But the first item I'm going to show you is the redstone toaster. So the way that works is you take a piece of bread and you use a kitchen knife to slice it, and it gives you bread slices. when you take the bread slices, you can put them in the toaster. You can either shift right click on the toaster and that'll turn the toaster on, or you can activate it with redstone. So I just put the redstone toaster on a solid block so I can have a button under here just to make it a little easier to activate it without having to do the shift right click. And then you take the toast out just by right clicking with an empty hand. Now, as far as the cutting boards go, I made a couple different kinds just so we could see the different ones. I'm having a little bit of trouble with getting the cutting boards to work. I think it may be a bug with the pack because there is a cutting board in from Farmer's Delight and it's confusing it. So I'll have to do some looking into that. But, you know, you're supposed to be able to make tomato slices and pork cuts and things like that, and it doesn't seem to be working. So I'm going to have to look into that between this episode and the next one, see if I can't figure out why that's not working. Next thing I wanted to show you is these pickle jars. So pickle jars, you take, you craft a jar and then you put water into it and then you add salt, which was what we get using the desalinator in the salt biome. And then over time, the cucumbers that you put in there will turn into pickles. So we got our first pickle there. Let me see if this will slice. Oh, that one works. So some of the items do work and some of them don't, and I'm not quite sure why, but that's interesting. So the way we end up making sandwiches, let me cook up some of this meat while I'm talking so we have some meat to put into our sandwich. You can use food items from other mods too, which is really great because we're going to actually use the beef patties we get from our Farmer's Delight mod to make our little burger here. So the way you make a sandwich is you take a bread slice or toasted bread slice and you put it down, and then you grab the next item you want to use. We're going to use some lettuce here and we'll slice that up to get lettuce leaves. So we'll put down a lettuce leaf, and then we'll grab one of our beef patties, and we're going to actually make a double burger here. So let's do, you know what, we have 3 pieces of lettuce, let's make triple. Oops. And then we can put pickles on top. And then what's interesting is you can either put a toasted bread slice or a regular bread slice. Oops, I grabbed the sandwich. Or a regular bread slice. So you could have toast on the bottom and regular bread on top. But if you just right click with an empty hand, whatever the last thing you put on will come off. And then once you have a sandwich made, so I have toast, lettuce, beef, pickle, and toast. You just shift right click it and it will pop off and it will be a sandwich. And you can see I made one earlier that was just the beef patties, but you can see that they give you different amounts of food based on how much ingredients you put in and what different ingredients you put in. So there's lots of different combinations you can make to make the sandwiches different. There's a few other items in the Sandwichables mod that I haven't been able to do yet. One of those is cheese. You just take milk and put it into a basin and then add a cheese culture. The cheese cultures require mushrooms of different types, the brown and the red, or the ones from the nether. And then you can also do one with fermented spider's eye. All of those are things I haven't gotten yet. So once we get that, we'll be able to work on cheese. But you use all these different cultures to make different types of cheese that give you different effects. And then there's also sauces we can make, which is the sweet berry jam, the glowberry jam, and mayonnaise. I have yet to make those, so we'll have to do that in the future. But that's pretty much all the items that are used directly from Sandwichable. You have different cuts of meats you can use and stuff like that. But like I said, you can put in food items from any other mod. So far, it seems like as long as it has food that it provides, like hunger and saturation, you can put it into the sandwich. And then the sandwiches can get pretty ridiculous. But I'm not able to eat it right now because my house is really full, but I've seen some sandwiches that go, you can stack them all the way to the ceiling if you want to. But so that pretty much shows off what we can do with the Sandwichables mod. We'll probably mess around with it a little bit in the future. There's also the possibility of using a sandwich table on a minecart to do some automation with it. I think that might be fun to try in the future, especially if I can figure out how to work out all the little bugs that are working with the cutting board so that I can get all the different ingredients. But we'll work on that at a later date and get that working. I wonder if I can just put a whole tomato on a sandwich. I haven't tried that. I can. So I could just make them with tomatoes and onions this way instead of doing the slices. But it's not quite the same. Let's see what happens when we make a sandwich like this one. So now I have a bunch of different sandwiches to try to eat. Okay, so the next thing we're going to work on is going through another section in the agriculture quest line. We have pretty much finished off Farmer's Delight. Still need to make a netherite knife to increase the durability, but I don't have netherite yet. The next section was the one I initially wanted to work on, so I want to make a market, a chicken's nest, a feeding trough, and the different fertilizers. So I'm going to get together all the ingredients for that, and we'll come back when we're ready to complete that quest line. Still working on the items I need for the quest line, but I made a few changes in the kitchen. First off, I changed all these countertops into cupboards. Now I have lots of spaces for me to lose all my items in my kitchen. But I was trying to organize them so that I put like the salt underneath the pickle jars and stuff like that. I added a tank here just so I can collect the pickle brine. I don't think that there's any use for the pickle brine, but I'll collect the tank full of it before I start getting rid of the rest. I also added in a sink. The sink is pretty cool. You just build one, fill it with water, and then it's got infinite water in it. So it's like having an infinite water source in the corner. Pretty neat. But so now we have all the stuff we need to make our sandwiches. I also got my hunger down to the point where I can eat something, so now we can try one of these sandwiches that I made. So this is the one that's got a whole bunch of beef patties and bread. So you can see it fills up quite a bit of health. I was hoping that like it was set up so that you would only eat the part of the sandwich that you needed. Doesn't seem to be the case. So honestly, having Sandwichable in the mod pack is mostly just as a troll because of Knight and his aversion to calling anything a sandwich. I wanted to have sandwiches that we could make. I probably, for our long-term food needs, will be using Farmer's Delight because the meals you can make with the cooking pot are much, much more nutritious. But we will continue to get the rest of the things we need for Sandwichable just so we can finish it off, and hopefully I can figure out how to fix the issue that I'm having with the cutting boards. I think I hear a drown, and I think it's because I didn't fill in all the area underneath me, and so there's water underground, and there's a drown trying to get to me. Going to have to fix that too. But the next thing we're working on making here is the market. So I need to go get some red dye so I can make that. I believe, actually, I may have some right here in this barrel. In one of them, anyway. There we go. So the only thing I need to make the market is to have one piece of red wool. And then we can craft this. This is an item from Farming for Blockheads. We'll put it right here. That's neat. There's different animations for Grandpa Anthony to pop up. But here we can find any seeds that we need to get with, we can buy them with emeralds, same with different saplings, and bone meal we can also purchase with emeralds. So once we get a better supply of emeralds, we'll be able to get all the different seeds that we need. So again, we're not taking any of the random rewards like we did over here. So next we need to make a chicken's nest. Chicken's nest is just made with planks and hay bales. So I actually have wheat on me, so all I need to do is craft a hay bale. And then we take that and 2 planks. And we get a chicken's nest. So we'll set that in here for now. I don't have a chicken, so we'll have to go collect some chickens and bring them back. And then we can put those in the chicken pen. And I believe that this just means that when the chickens are ready, they will come over and sit in the nest and lay an egg. So that one's finished. Feeding trowel is made using a golden carrot, planks, and a hay bale. So to make the golden carrot, first you need a carrot. And then we will need nuggets to surround the carrot. Is it nuggets around a carrot? No, nuggets around an ingot. Okay. And then we need a hay bale for this recipe as well. And what was the rest of it? It was 4 planks. So we will take our 4 planks, our golden carrot, and a hay bale. And I'm pretty sure that what this does is makes it so that if we put this inside of our pen, let's put it in the corner so we can reach it. If we put the hay in it when it's time for them to breed, so let's break this and put it. Oh, looks like it did work. Okay, so that just makes it so that when the sheeps are able to breed, they will just continue to breed, and we can keep filling this up with wheat automatically. So that's a pretty neat little device to help keep our farm growing. And go sleep off this nighttime so we don't get attacked by ravagers. Skeletons and slimes and everything spawning everywhere. Okay, so the fertilizers are, let's take these off the list. We made those. Fertilizers are made using different colored dyes to have different effects. So we'll have to get some seeds. Green dye I do not have yet. Yellow dye and red dye I do have. So we'll need bone meal, dirt, and seeds. So let's grab some bone meal. Most of my bone meal now is just coming from the bamboo. I cut down the bamboo whenever it's fully grown, and then it can all be turned into bone meal. Okay, so we need red dye, which I already have in my inventory. I need a dandelion for yellow dye. Do I have that somewhere? Let's go grab one of those from our storeroom. Oh, here's one right here. You don't need to go so far. Is there a couple more around? I think I'll need a few of them. Pretty little dandelions. Okay, so the fertilizers are made with either bone meal or dirt. So let's grab some dirt out of our block bag. Oh, I only need 1 stack. And so let's do a red fertilizer. It's going to require 3 of these. Oops, just 3. And the yellow fertilizer is going to require 3 of these. So we can craft the red one. Oh, we're still missing the seeds. That is easily rectifiable. So we'll craft a red fertilizer and a yellow. And we can get that off and that off. So now, when you use yellow fertilizer on crops, it prevents trampling. So let's use that over here. So let's test it right here. You can see that the jumping from a high height onto the yellow fertilized land does not trample. It's a very neat mechanic, but because I'm going to be using rich soil in the future, it's not too big of a deal because rich soil cannot be trampled either. But it's very neat to have. Plant these down, and then we'll try out our red fertilizer. Now, red fertilizer speeds up growth. Now the question is, and I should have tested it on the other side. Let's make some more of these. Now that works there. Make some more of this. Now, the question is can we use the red fertilizer on rich soil? Because the rich soil speeds up growth too. Doesn't look like we can. But so it's kind of basically one or the other. If we are going to use rich soil, it can't be trampled and it can use red fertilizer. Or we can use regular soil and put the different fertilizers onto it. So let's check out our quest book. So we got everything but the green fertilizer done. And that's going to require cactus green to get the green dye. I don't have access to cactus yet. I don't think I have any of these other alternatives right now either. So we'll have to save that one and get it done a little bit later. And then that will allow us to finish off the blockhead quest line. The next thing I think that we should work on is probably trying to get into some of the more advanced food types so that we can actually have some decent foods to take with us while we're working in the mines for our next episode, because our next episode is going to be going back to modern industrialization so that we can tech up and start doing some automation using steam power and things like that. So I think that's going to have to call it for today's episode. I think I'm already pushing past our time limit. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Definitely going to play around with Sandwichables a little bit more, but like I said, we're probably going to focus on Farmer's Delight for our main food sources in the future. And we'll keep expanding the crops and the barn as we go along through the series. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.